Hi, dear students. Very good morning to all. I am your English teacher, Joyce Lata. Hope you all are safe at home. Well, today I am going to teach you a poem from Unit 1, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. It's a memory poem. Robert Frost is the poet of this poem. He was an American poet, a nature lover. Though he lived in city, he loved the beauty of villages. His very famous poems are The Road Not Taken, West Running Brook, Mending Wall, etc. This is a poem of lyric, which means a short poem as well as expresses the feeling of a person in a simple way. It's a metaphoric poem, consists lot of comparisons and imaginations. Let us read line by line and I will explain the literal and hidden meaning of the poem. Before we get into the poem, there are two questions to warm you up. Have you ever traveled through a forest? How did you feel? Did you have any time to stop and enjoy the beauty of the forest? Yes, many of you might have this experience. Nature is always special to us, right? Look at the first stanza. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. The first stanza begins with the possessive pronoun of whose. The word woods represent here a dense forest full of green. So you can imagine. One day, our poet started to have a ride on his horse. He was going towards somewhere for some other work, but while crossing the forest, he stopped there. The forest attracted him. He stopped there and he was thinking that, whose woods are these? Look at the second line. His house is in the village though. He thought there were no houses nearby. So he thought the owner of the house might be there in the village. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So he thought the owner is not here nearby, so he might be in the village. So he cannot see me. That's I'm stopping here and enjoying the beauty of his woods. Look at the second stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. And here he says that he was riding on his horse. He stopped there in some other unknown place. So he got a doubt that my horse must think that queer. Queer means a strange. He was standing there in an unknown place. So the horse might think that my owner has stopped there in some other unknown place. Usually the horse has a habit that to stop near a farmhouse. But here there were no farmhouse, so that the horse got a doubt. What happened to my owner? He stopped there somewhere. Between the woods and frozen lake. The place has explained that the place was there, was there between the frozen lake. Look at the beauty of the nature. The darkest evening of the year. This line represents that was the season of winter. Look at the first stanza. Whose woods are these? I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. The last rhyming words, no, though, here, snow. So here the rhyming scheme given to the poem is A, A, B, A. And the second stanza, look at the rhyming words square, near, lake, ear. Square, near, ear, B, and lake, C. So the rhyming scheme given is B, B, C, B. Let us move to the third stanza. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Here the horse had got a doubt, right? Why my owner has stopped there in some other unknown place. So to raise this question, the horse made a shake. So when it was shaking the head, the harness bells, here the harness bells means there will be lot of belts which is tied on the horse, and some bells were also tied there. You can look at that in the picture. So while the horse was shaking the head with the question, and the bell sound, it made the bell sound. So the owner understood that it is asking me a question, why you have stopped here? Is there any mistake on your way? The only other sounds, the sweep. There were no sound in the dense forest, only the harness bell sound, and the other sound was only sweeping. Sweeping means a gentle sound. Which one made the gentle sound? That is of easy wind and downy flake. Downy means which falls down. Flake means a weightless substance which is called snow. So there was snowfall in the evening, and here the poet says that except the sound of horn bells, and there was only sound that the downy flake sound. So he was enjoying the beauty of the nature. Here you can see the rhyming words: shake, mistake, sweep, flake. Shake, mistake, flake. C, sweep, D. So the rhyming scheme given is C, C, D, and C. Look at the last stanza. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep. Here he has immersed in that imaginary, and he has immersed in that beauty of the nature. So here he explains the nature as the woods are so lovely, and the climate is very dark and deep also. But I have promises to keep. Immediately he remembered his responsibilities. He had to come out from his nature world. So as soon as he remembered his responsibilities, he says that, but I have promises to keep. The nature is so beautiful. I have admired, and that everything is okay, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Here, the miles to go, which represents the responsibilities of a person. So when he was traveling on his way, he was enjoying the beauty of the nature. He had spent some time in that, but he has to come out from that imaginary world. He has so many promises, he has so many responsibilities in his life. There are miles to go for him. That means there are so much of things he has to do in the world. Here the sleep represents death. My dear children, the poem the poem consists of imaginary life versus real life. So the poet was moving towards somewhere for some other work, but on his way he was spending some time in some other thing, even though he has to come out of his imaginary world, right? So there is a real world. It is called a journey of life. We have a journey of life. Sometimes we may be diverted and we may be immersed in some other activities, but you have to remember that we have a real life, a life of journey. You have to come back to that. We have so much of responsibilities, ambitions in our life to achieve, right? So wherever you stopped there, from right now, from the place, you have to come out to do all your responsibilities. Look at the last lines. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. We can see a repetition here. That means why it is given a repetition? It to stress our responsibilities. So though we are there immersed in some other activities or our enjoyments, we have a real life. We must come out from that, and we have to face the challenges of our life. So these two lines are very special for our former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. He liked these quotes very much, so he wrote it on in the bold letters on his desk, and every day he used to watch that before he start his work. And miles to go before I sleep. Right? So, my dear children, hope you all understood the poem. And the last stanza, look at the rhyming words: deep, keep, sleep, sleep. And all the words are rhyming to each other. So, the rhyming scheme given is D, 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 D. So, these lines are very special, that and miles to go before I sleep. So I want you, all of you, that to remind these words in your mind. Hope you all understood the poem. Look at the last page here about the author, and the glossaries are given for your reference. So go through the poem, my dear children, understand well and memorize it. Thank you.